Hey, what's up, guys? This is Brad with Spike Fitness, and I'm out kind of stomping around on Yeongri, South Korea. Just kind of doing a day of exploring. It's been a while since I've walked around, so just kind of walking around and checking things out. Truth be told, too, I'm looking for some candy store stuff to get like a care box to send home to my family, and wanted to take the opportunity to be out here and kick off a live. That way, maybe I can kind of chat with you guys if anyone pops in. Let me take a look at the live chat, see if I can get that going on my phone. I haven't done that yet. But then I also kind of wanted to chat a little bit about the Arnold Strongman and kind of the events that have taken place for that and kind of how all that went. You may or may not be aware, I put out that video, kind of what cost Hathor $50,000. Got a lot of views on that one video. And it actually kind of astonished me how many people viewed it, but also how many people were kind of disagreeing with me, or how many people were, more under the belief that was just his cap, his limit. And while I do believe that Hathor may not have had much more in him, I don't think that that was necessarily his cap. If you look at the movement of the foot, it coincides exactly when the upward movement of the bar ceased, and so right where the pull was, as he was pulling, started to get to the knee, started to kind of engage his glutes and then rotate those feet, but then the foot just slipped out from underneath him, and I think that really cost him the lift. Had he been able to keep his footing and what's up, hey, I'm out in Pyeongtaek somewhere, or Ongjeonri, right? I'm just walking around right now. But had he been able to keep his footing, I think that he might have been able to crest that knee. And then, as you well know, in strongman, hitching is allowed. And I think that he might have been able to crest that knee and then hitch the 501 up into completion. There's at least a chance of it. I had someone was so upset by my read on the lift that they called me a fool. But I don't think that I've said anything that's terribly foolish. I feel like my assessment of the lift is really spot on. It's too bad. And then you look at the performance of Brian Shaw. I had some people asking me to break down and take a look at Brian Shaw's deadlift, and going back and looking at his last deadlift, there really wasn't much to be able to critique. I'm generally not a fan of that super wide stance that he uses. But I'm also not a 6'7", 420, 430 pound man, so he's got to do whatever he's got to do, and he's pulling more weight than I can pull. So far be it for me to be too critical of what his position is, as long as it's successful for him. What I think on his lift, as I saw him begin to pull and initiate, is something just popped. So he actually had actual failure on muscle tissue. That prevented him from being able to do much of anything, and it happened pretty fast in the lift too. You can see it as he's pulling; he kind of shoots forward, and something pretty significant enough let go fairly abruptly. So the lift was no good, and then of course he was combating, that torn hamstring or the injured hamstring, for the remainder of the meet, and found himself in second to last place. That's too bad, because it's, I like seeing Brian Shaw, and I like all the things that he does. I think he's a good dude, and I hate seeing good competitors get held down by injuries and things that are kind of outside their control. I wish I could have seen him kind of carry through that that competition to his fullest, but it wasn't meant to be. I think also, unfortunately, Aussie, that's the elephant bar and more whippy. Yeah, you're right. So the elephant bar is whippy. But like, I think if, just not too dissimilar from a Texas deadlift bar, or, a other deadlift bar for, deadlifting competition for powerlifting, there's ways that you can kind of control it, where that whip doesn't really overcome you. Now I've never deadlifted on a deadlift bar, so I can't speak to that directly. I don't know. But there were guys that were able to do it and didn't get hurt. Some of those things were injury-wise are just out of your control. Shit just happens. The time that I tore both my biceps, everything felt fine until it wasn't. So it's hard to say. XW, yeah, man. Hey, I actually did this. I did this video explicitly, or this live chat explicitly, to try to catch some people that don't normally get to catch me, because I normally do these like late at night my time, to try to catch that U.S. side of things. So I figured if I did it during the day, I might be able to catch some different faces and kind of see what we get. So that's kind of what we're doing here. Yeah, Brian Shaw, him getting hurt, that sucks. I hate seeing that happen, but with the sad state of reality with strongman and bodybuilding and powerlifting and all that other stuff is you're really only as good as your last show. That kind of holds true, for all those strength sports, and you're only as good as your last show. And unfortunately, Brian Shaw hasn't had some great shows as of recently. And my genuine prediction is that, Thor is really hitting his stride in terms of his career. And I feel like he's going to be a really dominant player in strongman for as long as he can stay healthy. So barring, some significant injury or something, unexpected, I believe that Thor will remain a dominant force in strongman for many years to come. So much so that I don't think that Brian Shaw will ever beat Thor in a competition again. It's just my prediction. Not that I don't want to see Brian do well. I would love to see Brian do well, but Thor has been so dominant as of late, and he's really hitting his stride. He's a younger dude. I feel like he's really kind of the up and coming. Is going to be the future of strongman for the next, however many years, until someone comes up and is ready to oust him. So. Yeah, and then the rest of the competition was pretty interesting, taking a look at, all the rest of it. I don't know all the dudes' names, but it's like Kiliskowski, the guy that shouldered the stone 5 times. That was goddamn amazing. Some of the stuff that these guys are able to do is astounding, and those guys working through injuries to kind of put on a good show and do the best that they could. Brian Shaw sticking with it as best as he could to try to get as many points as he could. Very admirable to stick with it and all that other stuff. So anyway, nothing too significant with this live chat, guys. I wanted to touch base on the whole foot slotting for Thor Bjornsson, because there were a number of people that were very adamant that there was no way he was going to get that weight, and it was just too far outside his wheelhouse. Like I said, I kind of disagree with that. I don't think it was so far outside his wheelhouse. There's a chance that had his foot slipped, he may not have made that lift. However, if you go back and look at it again, that foot slip coincided with the cessation of the upward movement, and that's really where things went downhill for him, and he wasn't able to recover after that. It's not like you can get your foot back underneath you while you're holding, 1,100 pounds or whatever. So, that wide stance on that slippery surface really was the contributing factor to him not getting it. Because had his foot not slipped, he may have been able to crest that knee like I mentioned. And if he was able to crest that knee, I think that he probably could have hitched it into place and completed the lift. I don't know. Irrespective, I think he'll get it sometime in the near future. I definitely think that Thor will break that record sooner than later. So for any of you guys that are here with me right now, any questions, comments, concerns, anything going on with you guys that you'd like to chat about while we're here? If so, post me a comment, say what's up, see what's going on, so I can respond to you guys. Otherwise, this is going to be a pretty quick live chat. I got to walk around and find some candy, I think. I'm going to make a care package of, Korean candies and stuff sent home to the kids. I think they'll get a kick out of seeing a bunch of, exotic packaging and candies they've never seen and arrive at the house. That'll be pretty cool. All right. Well, I suppose that's it, guys. No questions, comments, or concerns from the peanut gallery. I'm going to bebop around the rest of my day then. I hope that you guys are all right. I appreciate you guys checking out the videos and everything that you guys do to support the channel and all that. So thank you very much. Remember, guys, no matter what it is you think you can't do, train despite. You're either going to find an excuse or you're going to find a way. I appreciate you.